Hello, hello, welcome to this week's installation of Bike Chat. My name is Jonah DiPasquale. I am the host of Bike Chat. We're here every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With me, my awesome craft brewing co-host, none other than Gunnar Soros. Gunnar, good evening, my friend, and how are you?
I am doing wonderful. I hope you're doing well. It's an amazing Thursday night, almost the end of the week, and I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, we have a guest with us tonight that is a very interesting startup. If you've not caught wind of these folks, you are certainly going to hear a lot about them. It is none other than Bikegab, and Bikegab is our special guest this evening. But before we get into that, we have got a couple things going on with this show. We're going to cover some hot topics, and then we're going to get right into it. As I said, if you guys can share this out, that would be awesome. Tell a little bird. If you know any of your friends or followers that love anything cycling related, please let them know about this show, because that's how we grow our audience, that's how we grow our followers, and we greatly appreciate that. See, Ellen, thanks for sharing this out. You can also post it to your Facebook page now, which is kind of cool. In addition, all right, so a lot of hot topics going on. As always, I have to make a long spreadsheet to remember so many of them. In fact, let's see. I know that we had the mechanical bike doping thing keeps popping up. I know, Gunnar, you had showed me a couple videos that had proven. Hey, Dan, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. And but again, if you guys haven't been following this is a really crazy thing that just recently happened at the Cyclocross Worlds. And it was a young female rider. Was it not, Gunnar? Correct? It got caught?
Yeah, under 23 female rider.
Yeah. So the story really quickly, just to kind of capsulize this, is the rider in a cyclocross event had a bike that was kind of mucked up, kind of went into the pits, took another bike, and then finished. And the accusations of the bike being motorized. Now, we talked about this a little bit. We had the folks from Squid Bikes on, and we kind of chatted about it a little bit. But the thing I want to point out is that, Gunnar, did you see this? Apparently UCI is now taking further actions to seek allegations against mechanical doping.
Yes, I saw. I mean, I saw a little bit of it, and some of it, a lot of it goes over my head, because I know that they're seeking, and from what I've read, we don't still have a clear picture of exactly what was going on. Was it
right?
Was it the motor in the seat tube? There's rumors of electromagnets in wheels, and somehow that working. I have no idea how any of this stuff works. I mean, I can imagine the engine in the seat tube. That makes sense to me of how that works. The electromagnets, it goes way over my head. But we still don't know what they're accusing her of,
right?
Other than that the bike somehow has a motor in it. So,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. So I think to kind of bring this around full circle. I mean, it's. I think that's an issue in itself. But one of the other interesting things is, did you see some of the earlier videos and films that have been popping up showing that apparently mechanical bike doping has been going on for many, many years? In fact, I wish you had also shared with me a video. I don't know, Gunnar, maybe you can dig out this link. I couldn't understand a stitch of whatever language is it in, but they did. Like, did you see they did a side-by-side test comparison of a rider, and they were on a course, an uphill course, and the one rider actually had a mechanical assisted bike, and he literally smoked his competitor like up the hill with no issues at all. And unfortunately, like I said, you can't really get the dialogue out of it because it's in a different language. But I guess my point is that they've been saying that this has just been going on for like the longest times, which is crazy. And I think, not for nothing, I think it'd be kind of cool maybe to show up on like a single track ride with like a mountain bike like that. Now, the thing I was going to say to you is, how do we know that this isn't happening in other aspects of cycling?
Right. No, yeah. Well, I guess, we don't. And the UCI supposedly was doing testing last year, like at the Tour de France and stuff.
Right.
But, just because they haven't found anyone yet doesn't mean that it's not happening. I mean,
right.
The whole regular doping situation kind of, it says, just because you're not caught doesn't mean that you're not guilty.
Right.
So, and, we have pros coming out. Bradley Wiggins is one, and others that are saying, oh, yeah, this is going on.
Right.
But they're not pointing fingers yet either. So, I mean,
Right. Well, and you have to wonder when that starts happening if it's like, he did it. He did it, right? And that's why I think it's interesting because exactly, you don't know if in all honesty, maybe, at one point or another he had, mechanically doped his bike, which is crazy. So I don't know. It's one of those things that is as we start to move forward in this industry, it's so hard to like wrap our heads around. We're like, wow, there's a little motor in the seat tube that's making the cranks go around faster or whatever. But at any rate, that could probably be an entirely different hot topic show. So again, we are getting to our guest here in just a few minutes. I don't know, were there any other hot topics that you had? Because that was kind of the big one I keep seeing coming up over and over again. And again, as I said, you did throw a couple other things my way, and I apologize I didn't get those noted.
Well, Red Flag Dan has a question. Exactly why is it called doping? I think it's just kind of a throwback to the fact that cyclists I don't want to even say in general, but there have been a lot of cheating cyclists that would just dope, and so this is like the next step beyond that.
Right.
And then, so while we're speaking of doping, that leads me to a hot topic, is that David Miller, ex-pro cyclist, I think he's officially retired.
Yes.
But David Miller from Britain, he is now, I don't know exactly what his role is, but he's somehow leading younger riders in a kind of almost like a coaching role or a ambassador role to like junior cyclists or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, okay.
But he's an ex-doper. I mean, he served a suspension for it. I think it was 2 years that he couldn't compete. He did come back as a professional, and supposedly he raced the rest of his career clean, and I kind of believe that. But, what kind of feeling do you have for ex-dopers or convicted or suspended, I don't know the correct terminology for it, but someone that has been not only accused, but, has served a sentence and has, actually said he's dope. For them to then lead other people, younger cyclists, into the professional world.
Right.
I don't know how you feel about that. I'm kind of interested to know.
Well, it's I think it's two things. I think it's a little bit of a catch-22. It's like you more or less like don't do as I say, don't do as I do. But then again, I think the reality of it is that look at many people that discover religion, for the first time after being heroin addicts or something like that, and they go and they make huge difference and impact children's lives. So I think that it's two things. I think it's one of those things that will probably be under the watchful eye of scrutiny, which I agree with you there. But I also think that in that case, having sort of openly admitted, hey, I'm a doper. I've paid my I've paid my community time or whatever it is, and now I guess coming clean. Hopefully, the reality of it is he'll be able to kind of lead by a little bit more of a positive reinforcing example and say, hey, here's a road that you can go down. Yeah, I'm here. You hear me? You lose me?
No, you're good.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're Gunner. You're doing some weird things on my end. I'm getting so I don't know.
All
But anyway, I guess my he's gonna refresh. So I guess Dan, while Gunner's refreshing, I mean, what's your take? What's your take on that?
Well, it's really interesting that technology always outpaces the testing, whether it comes to mechanical devices or even like in mixed martial arts, it's a big deal with USADA, the anti-doping agency. And so it seems like no matter what we do, the cheaters are always going to be one step ahead until the testers can find out or inspect equipment in this case. So it's a real problem, and we're never going to weed it all out. It's just going to be there. So
and you know, it's funny. You just nailed something that I thought was kind of funny. Is think about how much horse shit that we kept hearing about Deflategate. I'm sorry if you're watching this replay. I didn't care. I never cared. I don't give a shit bleep. I don't care. Like, you know, it's like whether the football had no air in it, whether it had 100 pounds or 3 pounds, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that somebody wanted to piss and moan and say, oh, well, he did this and he did that. You know what, Dan? One of the things I want to tell you, and Gunnar and Merrick, is somebody made a good point a while back when the big Lance Armstrong doping thing popped up. They said, you know what? They're like, let everybody dope. Bring it. Bring it. You know what? It's just a bunch of, you know, cracked out thoroughbred horses on the course, and the one that's got the best chemist that wins, good for him. You know, maybe that's not the best thing to say, but if you have so many people that are like, I'm cool, you know, if you have somebody that's, you know, 380 pounds riding faster than somebody that's 140 pounds, you're going to go, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture? You know, so I don't know. It's definitely one of those things. You know, red flag Dan, cheating is commonplace. I agree. It's everywhere. I mean, you know, don't make any mistakes. It's in freaking NASCAR. Name a sport, baseball. I mean, whatever. I think, Dan, you're 100% right. It's there. I just think that the spyglass or the detection systems they have in place to catch those things, you know, my goodness, what was it? Freaking, who's it? Excuse my baseball ignorance. So who's the guy that freaking smacked like 1 million home runs and then come to find out the dude was freaking doping?
Barry Bonds probably is
right?
Barry Bonds was one.
You know, and everyone's like, oh my God, he's so awesome at baseball. Meanwhile, he's like, whatever he's doing. No. Anyway, totally diverging on this blab here. Well, sorry.
And like Dan mentioned too, and well, Red Flag Dan and Dan Bloomberg, you know, the fact that it is very commonplace. And I did read recently that even, you know, in running, that there's cheaters there. And we're not talking about the dopers or the high level people. We're talking, you know, the age groupers that are going out just to get their participation medals are cheating by cutting courses, by you know, if it's an out and back course, they'll go halfway out and then they'll come back in, and that there's a coach that actually looks at people's times and is able to tell, like, race organizers and say, hey, you may want to look at this person. I think they cheated. I think they cut the course. And not that he's trying to be like, oh, well, I'm a race Nazi. But he's coaching other runners that are doing it correctly, and they miss out on their chance to maybe, you know, go to the New York City Marathon because of their qualifying time, because somebody else decided to cheat and cut the course, or have somebody else run for them, which is another thing that they do. You know, it's really unfortunate. So you have, you know, some people that are calling other people out, and while, you know, it may seem like they're being a narc or something, you know, they have something.
Did you say narc?
Yeah, I did say narc.
I seriously feel like I'm in high school. Dan, did you say narc? That's crazy. Red Flag Dan says, seen that many times. Someone comes running out of the woods onto the course. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, totally, we could, without question, take this blab into like hours and hours and end on those issues. And I think the reality of it is that it's a sad situation that it is popped into the cycling industry, or I should say become more obvious. But at any rate, folks, listen, if you're just tuning in now, you are watching Bike Chat, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Johnny Pasquale. I am your host. It is so good to have you here. My co-host, Gunnar Soros. Please do us a favor, share this out. Tell a little bird, or you can post this conveniently out to Facebook. Hey, by the way, 2 other things I want to talk about. I'm also co-host of a fantastic blab that is Tuesday nights called Craft Beer Blab that Gunnar also is the host of. A lot of fun. Hope you enjoy that. If you want to watch the replay this week, we were talking about Bell's Brewery Hop Slam, which is a good time. And as always, we certainly invite you to come on board. Tonight, a very special guest. Folks, you are going to get a chance to talk to a company that not only is kickstarting, bootstrapping, rip shit banging, and ready to get it all going on. We have Merrick from Bikegab. He's our special guest. Merrick, good evening and welcome to Bike Chat.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me here.
Absolutely. So, Merrick, I have to tell you that you are taking a very old school approach to a very new school world. People are going to compression and tech fabrics and this and, Lawand and super high vis. Tell us the Bikegab story, because, it's a very unique story. And the stuff, by the way, if you haven't checked them out, I think, Merrick, you guys have a website, right? Or you guys are on Twitter? It's at Bikegab 12, right?
15. Bikegab 15.
I'm 15. I'm sorry, 15.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to do just at Bikegab, but it was taken, so I put number 15 behind it. 15? Since it was 2015 at the time, I figure, why not?
Awesome.
I see you post the link for our Kickstarter in the chat there.
Yeah. No, thank you, Gunnar. So what? I guess how did you are a cyclist, or you just decided to take your love for being a leathersmith? Tell us, how did that work?
It's kind of a combination of all of it. Well, when I moved to college, to go to college in Oklahoma State, I didn't have a car, so I was riding my bike everywhere. And I have just cheap Walmart bike, and it was kind of just get from point A to point B. And later on, when I got actually a bike that somewhat fit me. I got my old 1984 Raleigh, old road bike with big frame, and I figure, this is actually enjoyable. And then I ended up finding even a bigger frame, a 27-inch Schwinn from 1974.
Nice.
And then I realized I need something where I can put my my phone, my keys,
your beer,
because. In my beer, exactly, because it was just annoying have it in my pocket or in a backpack or whatever. So
yeah,
I've seen pictures of people making these frame bags, but they were all from, like you said, like the new materials and stuff, which didn't fit with my 35-year-old bike. So I want to get something more vintage, but I don't spend. I was looking on the internet. And I see everybody was making these. They like $200, like Brooks, frame bag. I'm like, well, okay, I see you get some leather. And then my coworker, I work at a office supply store. He is working with leather, so I was like, hey, let's do this. I think people might like it. And if nobody liked it, at least I will have bag that I enjoyed.
Right.
He kind of backed off, so I just bought side of a leather and started, putting stuff together about 3 months ago. And then I ended up getting an old sewing machine from thrift store down the corner and just start putting it together. I see the question if I'm using vegetable leather. For the Bikegab, I'm using oil tan leather or chrome tan leather. It's too many reasons. It's a little cheaper, so the final price can be cheaper, and more importantly, the oil tan is more resistant to water and weather conditions, which I figure since it's on the bike, it's probably gonna get wet and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And back to the design of the Bikegab, I figure, okay, I'm gonna make me nice leather frame bag, right? And then I park my bike when I go to bar or somewhere, and somebody gonna just come in and take it. Or I would have to take all things out of there every time I stop. So I figure, why don't I just add 2 straps to it, 2 hooks, shoulder strap, and carry it as a man purse or whatever people like to call it. Which around here in the Midwest,
satchel.
Nobody really carries those, but
MERS.
Big,
MERS. It's just the MERS.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's funny.
but Beck, where I'm from, I'm from Europe. A lot of people carrying it, like even like men's, they carry a little satchel, and it's cool.
Dude, I had a fanny pack, dude. Come on, man. I was a skateboarder, I had a fanny pack. It was cool.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you just here when I wear it, people look at me like, "What's this guy doing?" You know.
Right.
But, hey,
There you go.
there you go. Okay.
Nice,
I like
nice, nice.
Yeah, so that's how I got to making it, and as I said, I got that old sewing machine from thrift store for $20. I realized this is not gonna cut it, so I just need something more heavy duty to do better work.
Right.
And I figured best way. And one of the things, I'm a big fan of Kickstarter. Always been following stuff, back up a few projects. So I always wanted to start on Kickstarter. So that was a perfect match. I had a product I want to bring to life. I need some extra budget up front, and I wanted to start Kickstarter project. So there it is. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yep. I didn't miss. Yeah, I have 7 days to go.
Right.
In the Kickstarter campaign, and I'm at 69% funded, I believe.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, you've already
so
got a fan in me. I like to work in leather, and I'm just going to share a link of a knife sheath that I made.
Okay.
And I love what I've seen from your product already. It's super awesome. I love the classic material, and leather will withstand the elements, the rain, especially if you maintain it. A little bit of mink oil on your leather, and that stuff will last a lot longer than most of the Neo products that are on the market today, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, I just check your picture. That's very nice hand stitch over there.
Thank you.
That's one of the things. Since I started making these bags, I like every time I go to store with my wife and she looks at the handbags, usually I was like, hey, let's get out of here. And now I'm going with her and looking at the stitching and how it's put together and stuff like that. So that's
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing, like I said to you before, is to Dan's point, you're kind of and you're bucking the system here. And it's funny that the North American Hand-Built Bicycle Show is coming up very soon, and that's a great show, by the way. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend it. Gunnar, have you been to that show, the North American Hand-Built Bicycle Show?
I've watched it online, all the Twitter and the Instagram, but yeah, I've never been there.
But I would have to imagine, Eric. I mean, I think that's without question. Where you want to be. You want to hook up with like a Vanilla or like a Kind Human or a Squid Bikes, who's one of our guests previously. But I'm almost certain that if you get your product paralleled with a company like that, that's got that like niche customer, I mean, I think it would be a no-brainer. Like I would say that I would see you guys, clearly coming in and dominating that Timbuktu customer. I mean, Timbuktu stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. I have a bunch of Timbuktu bags. They work really well. But I just think as far as overall style, and I think to Dan's point, just about the quality of having like a good leather bag, pouch, satchel, whatever you want to have, I think it's a no-brainer. And also, too, the craft beer marketplace. I mean, Gunnar, you can chime into this. I mean, constantly in my social feed, you got the 6-pack holder, the growler holder, the flask pouch. I mean, I think that cycling. Yeah, I mean, I think cycling. Let's face it, cycling, beer, and booze, it goes together. It's not like people are out there getting completely inebriated, although it happens by mistake, go figure. But I think that's a huge problem. I mean, maybe you can get Anheuser-Busch to sponsor you. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. We got to edit that out.
Yeah. God.
No. But seriously, so I guess moving forward, once your Kickstarter, looks like it's going to come to full term, what's the next steps from Bikegab from there?
I don't know if it's me or...
What was that, Merrick?
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you okay. It sounded like you were asking a question.
I'm good.
Yeah, no, I just my sound went out, so I wasn't sure if it's me or if it's, I guess it was me.
If
sentence you were saying?
We can hear both you and Jonah, but you're both audio only right now.
Right. Oh, okay.
I'm audio?
Yep.
Yes, Jonah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to refresh. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. Oh. Do you guys just have my audio too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're just audio too.
So I just hit the refresh button.
Yeah,
right?
F5.
Browser, yeah.
Sherry, while they're refreshing, Sherry McKenzie just asked me, is my wife keeping me under control tonight? she keeps me under control most nights. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Better?
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We are back. Hey, quick mic break, folks. Welcome again to Bike Chat every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. My name is Jonah DePasquale. I am the host of the most cyclist craft beer lover. Also with me, my phenomenal co-host, I should say, Gunnar Soros. Also host of Craft Beer Blab Tuesday nights. And again, folks, if you want a good time on a Tuesday night, you know where to find us. That is Gunnar's show. Great show this past week. It was a hoot. We were sampling Hop Slam by Bell's Brewery. You can catch that on his Blab replay. Tonight's special guest is Bikegab. They are doing a phenomenal job, and they're very close to their Kickstarter and kind of getting and acquiring the funds that they need to continue on with their awesome project. And if you've not had a chance to check these folks out, they are doing a phenomenal job. It's Bikegab 15. They're on Twitter. You can find more. The Kickstarter link is in the feed if you do want to scroll up. But we have Merrick. Merrick is here answering your questions. He's done a phenomenal job trying to tell us the whole, again, Bikegab story, the materials that he works with, the different styles, and the effects of, really what it takes to be a young entrepreneur. Hey, by the way, Merrick, I don't want to put you on the spot, but how old are you, by the way, if we could ask?
25.
25. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Just finished the school last year, and I'm on a working visa right now in Oklahoma, and I'm probably going back to school again next year. Okay. For entrepreneurship, I want to learn some more stuff on how to efficiently run a company and whatnot. So.
Well, you're doing a great job. Now, you said you're on a visa. Where's your actual home?
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, nice, awesome. And now the interesting thing about you were acquiring bikes. Now, was it you were a cyclist before, or just it was basic transportation, or?
I always liked to ride bikes. Back home, I ride a lot of mountain bikes, but then when I moved here, it was at first just transportation. But then once I see they actually make these older road bikes that have big frames enough that they fit me somewhat.
Right.
Then I just kind of, went all in, and I'm constantly fixing bikes and looking at the bikes, and I really don't get too much into the new high tech stuff. I like the old school stuff, but yeah.
Nice.
So one of the other things too, you were talking about leather, and it kind of got me thinking. One of my buddies that makes belts and stuff like that. Do you do any type of what do they call it, like embossing or stamping of the leather goods itself?
Yeah. Well, actually, with the oil tan leather, the stamping is a little harder because it doesn't hold. Sorry, Dan. It doesn't hold the the print as well. But right now I just burned some initials and stuff.
Nice.
I'm planning on getting me a hot stamp. That way I can burn the logo in the oil tan leather, and it's gonna stay there. Whereas if you would just stamp it with the normal stamp and oil tan leather, it's eventually gonna go away.
Gotcha.
So, yes.
So
I actually have, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. So it is. So you're saying it's better to like hot stamp it?
Yes, exactly.
Because it almost like burns the material and stays in there.
Yeah, and it just stays in the air for.
It's like
forever.
branding at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Mhm.
You know, I could totally see this working. You know, there's two like really collaborative ideas that are going around in my noggin right now. Like I said to you earlier, I mean, the beer carrier to me is like an absolute no-brainer. I would say, you know, pick like one super rad beer company like, you know, Surly that's in Minnesota, or you know, Eric Rush Miller. He can connect you with a couple of breweries and make like one cool, you know, stamp and like hook them up with it. And I mean, they would just blow it up on their social. I mean, or like, you know, Oscar Blues, for example, they make bikes. They make Reed bicycles. So there's your tie-in right there. And if you gave them like a 6-pack holder with their logo on it, be like, oh, hey, check this out from our friends at Bikegab. And I mean, all you have to do is see, you know, one customer that's a huge fan of the craft beer sees that. And it's like, you know, it's like instant catalyst. I mean, you know, you have to sit there and think, as awesome as your product is, you know, how can you strategically, you know, or even an athlete. In fact, we had, you know, Anthony Clark on Bike Chat last week, and he's nuts. I mean, he's absolutely hilarious. And if you haven't seen that replay, go back and check it out with Squid Bikes and Emily. But like, it'd be hilarious to take like a squid, even if it's like a squid logo, and like send it to him and be like, hey man, you know, you're an awesome rider. Here you go. You know, whatever.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I actually look into the holders for like a 6-pack or for beer. It's just I figure I want to start with the one product, you know, for like a Kickstarter, and eventually move to. But yeah, no, absolutely. I many times I try to ride my bike with 6-pack in one hand, and it's no fun.
Doesn't work.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, so I want to give a shout out to our folks that are in the house. Again, thank you so much again to Sherry. Hey, Sherry, great to see you. Sherry's a success coach and podcaster, providing insight and tools to help you get beyond dreams to make them reality. And I'll give you a follow-up because, Sherry, you are a good fan. Of course, Red Flag Dan's in the house. We've got Scott Morgan, Bike Dork podcast nerd fan of maps. Nice. He likes hip-hop and my bike and see where my wheels take me. Love it. Who else is in the house? Big shout-out to C. Allen, of course, Eric, a.k.a. Rush Miller Foundation, and Tommy, the gingerbread man. Crowder's in the house. All right,
we all love Tommy.
Yep.
So Eric Rush Miller has a question. He said, do you have the ability to scale if somebody like Surly is interested in product? So, Eric, if you want to jump in, Dan jumped out.
Yeah.
So, Merrick, did you get that question?
Yeah, I saw that. Well, at the moment, it's just me, you know, and hopefully my I'm gonna get a sewing machine soon. But it's like in the back of my mind, I'm constantly thinking about how, if it catches on, how I'm gonna scale it, and that's why the bag design is so simple. It doesn't require too much sewing, so you can produce it kind of quick.
Sure.
And at this point, I can't probably, you know, produce high quantities, but it wouldn't be a problem.
And that's my concern with the. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's my concern, and why I asked the question is, you know, sometimes growth kills a great idea before it even gets started, and I think great idea, and but, you know, finding, and I agree, Jonah, I can see all kinds of different things that you could be doing with it, but just be real. My caution to you is just to be real careful in seeking out the partnerships, because all of a sudden, if you get 1,000 orders or something and you can't fulfill it, then you kill yourself before you even get started. And with something like this is really a cool specialty item that you don't want to diminish by shipping it offshore to just get it made as quickly as possible. I think it's a really cool niche item, for sure.
Yeah, appreciate it. No,
I
no,
want one.
cool. Well,
Two.
yeah, that's a two. I like it. No, one of the things, like you said, I don't want to, ship it to China, have it made. That's one of the things
Right.
I'm constantly thinking about it. I'm like, okay, if I have to make hundreds of them, how am I going to make it? So I'm keep thinking about it. Obviously, I don't have to worry about it at this point, but there's definitely something I don't want to, like you said, just become one of those things. You just make thousands of them. It's more like a niche craft kind of item, with leather products. If you want to use quality leather, you can't really mass produce them because each side of a leather is a little different, so you kind of have to pay close attention to it, how you cut it, how you make it, and stuff like that.
And I missed that you were crowdfunding this, so there's a Kickstarter campaign in there, and you're going to make your goal. You're 8 days away, I think if all of us are willing to make sure everybody's tweeting this out, everybody copy that link, and that's a cool looking bag for sure. I think that you've got a lot of, from a distribution model, I think if you look towards a business commuter or something like that, I mean, that's a classy looking bag, really. Right. And I didn't see the beer holder on here. Where's this beer thing? Because that's kind of cool.
That's not made yet.
Yeah. Oh, you just talked about it. Well, yeah. I think
I saw some people were making something like that, the bike holder, but I'm not sure if it's just like a Etsy kind of products or if it's something more than that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's great.
Mm-hmm. So Merrick, I mean, in like a to Eric brought up a good point. Is your crowdfunding goes through. You get the gold star, everything's great. You get the sewing machine. I mean, what is your capacity? Like if I had to say to you, how many of these bags can you physically make, like a day, a week? You know what I mean? Like how are you spatially going to be able to scale it? Because there's only, at the end of the day, like Eric's saying, it's awesome, it's niche, but the reality of it, Merrick, it's just you. So how are you gonna face that challenge?
Well, first, I'm going about making multiple, items, bigger quantities. Each process in the making a bag, you can, if you set up, you're just doing this one thing for now, you can get it fairly quick, like just cutting the leather, and I make some stencils out of cardboard. I'm actually gonna get them make out of metal. That way I can just trace it around with knife and get it down real quick. There's a minimum stitching in the bag, so that speeds it up. There's pretty much only three stitching lines, so that saves a lot of time.
Sure.
And I've been kind of talking to there's a couple stores in town who they do like a saddle repair and working with leather. So maybe I would outsource some part of work to them before getting part-time employees or something like that.
What do you think? I've already gone through your site, your gifts. I just watched the video real quick. Everything is excellent. $104 price point for a bag for your thing. What's your cost? And you don't have to disclose this. I'm really interested in crowdfunding and things. And with $104 cost on a leather bag like that, is it fair? Are you making enough margin that you're making money on those bags?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's $89 for if you want just a cotton strap. If you want a shoulder strap, I add $15. And,
okay.
And it's priced a little lower than what I would probably selling it for, just because that's kind of why you do crowdfunding, right? Because you have to give them something extra since they billing you up front. So the price is a little lower. It's not too much. And the way I calculated, I got my costs. And I said, okay, if I make 40 bags, I can make 40 bags, you know, to the point where I spend enough time with each bag, so it's quality work. And I get it down by the deadlines. And what I need my margin to be so I can get all the tools I need, right?
Sure.
And then you get to the leather, which I'm not buying the highest grade leather, which I would like to, but then I would have to, you know, raise the price. I'm buying the top quality leather. Let's say it's not the best, it's top quality.
Sure.
And the way I budget it, it's maybe more than I realized. When you're working with leather, there is a lot of waste, you know, because you just can't use some pieces of leather, so you have to calculate all that in the price, and all the hardware and stuff. Since I don't want to be buying the cheap hardware from, you know, like I find some people in Ohio, they sell quality handbag hardware, stuff like that, where you can save $1 or $2 on there. I'm kind of going for, you know, I want to be kind of on the budget, but keep it kind of affordable while keep the quality. I'm trying to find a balance between all those.
So here's an idea. Just one, like your keychains, using some of the waste leather for that. But in looking at your video, what I was thinking is, my God, you could be selling millions of these things if you went to a different material, and you could then possibly outsource that, and then save the leather bags, handmade leather bags by you or someone, that really becomes more of your upscale item, where you can get a higher margin, but less people are going to buy. But the people that buy are really going to want that high quality. But that thing is so cool. I could see every college student with a bike wanting that. That thing is cool.
Thank you. Well, actually, what you say with making that's more luxurious leather and whatnot, I was actually thinking about it. I wanted to put it in Kickstarter as a, you know, premium option, but I would need to buy leather. And I actually kind of have in mind that eventually I want to buy nicer leather and put something like that in lineup. But I really, like you say, with the cheaper option, I see a lot of people lately making these products from a waxed canvas and stuff like that, where it's waterproof. It looks kind of nice, you know. So maybe that would be the option for the mass-produced one, since that's kind of the material is kind of uniform. It's easier to work with.
And make it waterproof, so if they're riding to school or something with their computer in it or whatever. And I think your leather definitely can be upscale, but I think that's a great product. Just don't get ahead of yourself to where you end up causing yourself to fail because you've grown too fast. I've seen that happen to people where they can't meet the demand. But yeah, that's great. All of us should be helping. Everybody in the gallery, you know, we'll do whatever we can to help you out with your campaign. And you've got 8 days, 30% or more comes in the first 7 days, and then the last 7 days you should get your other 30 or 40%. And you're already there. So I'll make sure and watch the campaign. And please feel free to tag me in it. And I'm sure everybody else in here would be happy to be tagged in your tweets and all that. I'll put it on my foundation stuff. I think it's really exciting. So I don't know where you find all these people, Jonah, but another great week with a great guest. So I'm really glad to meet you, and I wish you all the success with your product.
Thank you.
And if you ever need anything, don't ever hesitate to contact me. You can get me through Twitter, or These Clowns, you know, whatever. And you should be here on Tuesday nights for Gunner's Beer Blab, because that's even more fun. It's a little more out of control.
Yes.
All right.
Not quite structured.
Bye.
Eric, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it. All right, so let's see here. We're at about 15 minutes to the top of the hour, folks. You are watching Bikegab Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jonah DiPasquale. I am your host. Thank you so much for joining. If you love to give me a follow on Twitter, that'd be fantastic. It's actually at Jonah DiPasquale, not at the Hoggle. That's a whole other story. I'm here with my phenomenal co-host, Gunnar Soros. Gunnar, great to see you as always. Thank you for your time, folks. Gunnar does an awesome job running a fantastic craft beer blab Tuesday nights. You're going to want to check that out. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you missed this week's show, no worries. This week's show was about Hot Slam. Yum, yum, yum. Really good show. We had a lot of fun. You can watch that on Gunner's replay links that he puts out there. Folks, we're here with Merrick of Bikegab. Very exciting Kickstarter company, and if you've not had a chance to throw in your 2 cents or help them out, please do so. We have the link in the queue as well, and he's just about almost finished with getting the funds that he needs to take it to the next level. He is in the States, in the Czech Republic, saving the day with quality cycling craft leather goods, and that's awesome. So. Dan, you just popped back in. Do you have any questions for Merrick?
Yeah. I was just curious. I'm looking through your rewards on your Kickstarter, and they look very appealing. You're definitely going to get a backer in me here probably next week. I'll put some money out. I really like what you're doing with the different your Bikegab and personal video, your Bikegab and tool case reward, and then the total package. That seems like really great incentives for people that are into biking and interested in quality products for being able to transport goods and whatever they want to carry in it. But the other question was, and I mentioned in the comments section a little bit earlier, is if you want to get into that like Surly beer market, designing a satchel for carrying growlers or whatnot, I'd be happy to work with you and contact some of the local breweries around here to get your product in them. And do what I can to help you succeed in what you're doing, because I'm a huge fan of leather work. Like I shared my link earlier with the little knife sheath I made. So I really am enjoying this.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Merrick, to Dan's point, and Eric brought up a good point as well about scaling, which is certainly something that you need to consider. But I think one of the floodgate controls that you can put in place is, make, like Dan's saying, make like a one-off Surly growler holder or a 6-pack holder and make it a premium price. You see what I'm saying? So if people see it, then they're just like, oh my God, I have to have this. You're not going to shoot yourself in the foot and Surly turns in an order for, 500 of them. You're going to go, whoa, wait a minute. I don't have the time to do that. Again, at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you in your mind, you need to keep in check with, okay, how much would Dan or Gunnar or myself or Eric or anybody on the show watching pay for it? I think that's the other perception, because we don't know, we don't know. But I think to what we were saying earlier is, there's plenty of sort of attempts at that effort already. So you could definitely go out, there's absolutely 6-pack holders out there that people have made. I've definitely seen grout holders, I've seen flask holders and things like that. And even if you just, snooped around on their Etsy site or their website to figure out what they cost, having those raw materials in your hands, what it's going to cost to make them. And the same thing to Dan's point is, if you're going to them and saying, hey, look, this is an exclusive premium, handmade widget that you're going to be able to sell to your customers, to give away to your key clients, whatever. I think Eric's point earlier, that's going to immediately help you to get, in the limelight sooner and not shoot yourself in the foot, because you're not going to be able to keep up the supply. You know what I mean?
Right. And I was going to bring up the point that I think the prices that you have listed on your Kickstarter, as far as your you have your early bird price of $85, and then your Bikegab price of $95, and then the leather strap auction of $104. I think you can definitely charge more for it, mainly because when you go to Timbuktu, and I have a couple of Timbuktu bags, and I love them, but it's just a canvas bag with a tarp inside of it, and they're charging $100 for a standard size bag. Now, granted, the size isn't exactly the same, but you're doing a handmade leather, very classic, very nice looking piece. So I think you can probably charge more for your bag, seeing that somebody else competition wise is charging more for something that is canvas. And to be honest, I think most of Timbuktu stuff now is made in China, so they're mass produced. You're doing a hand cut, handmade, even though you're using a sewing machine.
That's a good point. Thank you. That's what I was actually one of the things I was kind of worried about. I don't know. I just thought nobody's gonna get it. It's too much, But it's good to hear somebody outside of my friends, commenting on stuff like that, like pricing, because that gives me idea. And like I said, since it's on Kickstarter, and I've been watching Kickstarter a long time. I believe that price on Kickstarter should be lower, than if you go to the store, because then pretty much it's all it is just a pre-order system, right? So that's why I priced it a little lower. And yeah.
Well, and I think the only thing that I can tell you is having worked retail, business to consumer and business to business is it's a lot harder to go, down to up than up to down. Meaning price wise, it's like if I sell you a complete carbon bike for $3,000, right? And then I turn around and say, oh well, America, it's $4,500. You're gonna go, whoa, what just happened? I mean, the same bike that I paid $3,000 for is $4,500. So I mean, it's not it's not trying to tell you, stick the screws to your potential investor and customers. It's just, at the end of the day, just like Dan says, and Gunnar and myself, if I know that I'm going to invest, in this surly death row tool, okay, this stupid thing was $26, but it's worth it. It's got a bottle opener, there's a little wrench thing there. There's an eyelet for my keychain. But my point to you is that I can perceive the value here, where I have it's made out of good material. It's not cheap. And it's the same thing with you. It's like if people see your bags, they're going to know somebody with an eye with quality. Especially when you're telling us the story. You just didn't wake up one day and say, "Well, I'm going to make bags." These are I think Dan said it and Gunnar said these are works of art.
Yep. Well, and for Bikegab, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No, you're good. You good. Go ahead.
I just linked a women's credit card wallet that is listing on Etsy for $75. It's half the material, or probably a quarter of the material you're using on your bike bits, and that's still on the mid-range level price for a handmade leather product. I honestly think you can get more for what you're building and what you're showing on your Kickstarter. Your product looks phenomenal. I would buy one, and I don't even ride bike that frequently. I'm more of I work from home full time, so my bike riding is just like, I'm going to ride my bike to lunch. But that product is something I would love to have in my pocket, and you're honestly, I think, underselling yourself on what you can sell them for.
Okay.
Right.
Sweet.
So good to know. Good to know and bad to know. Now I know. I wish I would have priced it maybe a little higher, but it's good to know for the future that.
Right.
It was in my mind. I'm gonna price it higher, but now I know. I got some feedback. I don't have to worry about raising the price because like you said, you send out a leather wallet holder. And I look at Etsy and I see some people selling the frame bags made out of like a vinyl or something, for $80, $90. I'm like, you guys are crazy. How are you?
Right.
I would never buy it,
You know what though? It's not you, but there's like Dan said, there's a market for it. There's a market for it. There's no question about it. And I think that the beauty of this medium here, of live streaming, of just social media in general, it opens up so many more windows of opportunity. Like I'm telling you right now, get your bags, come on the show again, and I'm not even kidding you. Hold them up to the camera, and even just from the show alone, you'll get orders. You know what I mean? It's just that's the way this works. Because just because this show's live now, it doesn't mean that nobody's going to watch it again. I mean, we've had shows that there have been like 2,000 live viewers, and we've had, like, after the fact, we've had 1,700 replays. So even after the fact that like 2,000 people saw the show, 1,700 people went and watched it again, and then I think let alone 17 more people shared it. So the good news is that this show, even after it's over, is still in a queue. We'll give you the content for you to distribute. Gunnar puts it on his page. And I think the point of the matter is that it's information and content that just keeps kind of moving. So maybe people are going to see this and they're going to go, oh, wait a minute, they're almost done with their Kickstarter campaign, and it'll be like long gone and done, and you'll be making your stuff, but they'll be like, wait a minute, here's a great place, for us to find out about it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the same thing with you. It's letting people know what's going on. I think your best tool is to use social media to keep your consumers informed, because half the stuff that you talked about now, I was never even able to glean even from just looking at your Kickstarter campaign and paying attention to your Twitter feed. I mean, I think the value of us sitting here talking to you, learning the story, understanding the why, it even makes me go, man, I gotta have these. This stuff is great.
Yeah, no, like I said, with the story, I think on the Kickstarter, I don't want to put too long of a story. I kind of want to keep it to basics. But I was planning on starting to writing a blog on my website, kind of explaining the whole process. I just haven't got to it.
Right.
Well, it was great. I could have shared it with you guys, and you emailed me about if maybe there's some kind of prize for people who listen here and stuff. And then you mentioned you like the idea about bag with the personal video. And when I put that reward there, I was so excited. I'm like, this is going to be so cool. I'm going to shoot these videos with my GoPro, strapped to my head and like making the bag. And nobody got it yet. So I was thinking if anybody who back up with for the $104 bag with the leather strap and just shoot me a message, you find this on Bike Chat, I will shoot one of those videos for you. Nice. And I'm going to limit the first five people, because I don't want to, commit to too many and then don't have time to get through the videos and stuff like that.
Cool.
So
that's very generous. Thank you.
Oh,
excellent. All right. Well, folks, let's keep this almost to wrap. We are at the top of the hour of Bike Chat. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to have you on the show. Every Thursday night, you know where to find us. Again, this is Bike Chat. Tonight's guest, Merrick of Bikegab. Give them a follow if you've not at Bikegab15. And also anything you can do to support them on Kickstarter, follow the link and Nell will pop that up. I'm also here with my awesome co-host, Gunnar Soros. Gunnar, what do you have going on Tuesday again?
Oh, Tuesday is going to be great. We got it's obviously craft beer blab, and we'll be doing our drinking, but we got a guest on called Regrain.
I saw that.
Some bars, like say energy bars, but they use spent grain that they get from breweries, which is a great way to kind of recycle the grains, because they still have a lot of nutrients and stuff left in them, even though they suck all the sugar out of it for brewing beer. So
Interesting.
Let me find for it, and I'll throw it up here. And,
Pop that link up. That would be awesome to check out. And also, next week's guest on Bike Chat is Kind Human Bicycles. If you've not had a chance, or you've never heard of them, check them out. They are awesome. They are going to be on the show next week. They're pretty heavy duty into cyclocross, but we're going to learn some more about them coming up. And also, don't forget, folks, share this out. You can share it on Twitter. You can also share it on Facebook. And most importantly, if there's anything else we can do for you, give Gunnar or myself a follow. Be sure to link up with everybody. And most importantly, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate everybody's time.